Fair division, equal distribution amongst paying tenants.
By Nayeli Mejia Perez. My role was to come up with scenario 1, looking up sources, and concluding ideas.
Carmarie Seda. My role was to provide scenario 3 and finding the formulas to solve the scenarios.
And Daniela Aquino. My role was to design the PowerPoint and provide scenario 2. This presentation will look over different ways paying rent equally is a problem, and different scenarios in which rent will be fairly divided amongst tenants. What is fair division? Fair division is a course of action that is accompanied by the equal division of objects or items in a system where each side of the dividend feels that they have benefited from their fair share. Fair division can be seen in many forms such as distribution of votes, rent, or even down to fair slices of cake to each friend at a party. Fair division is all about balance and equality to both sides of a scale. The issues with tenants paying equal amounts of rent. One issue brought up to attention when tenants are dealing with splitting rent is their varying incomes. Not every tenant in an apartment or home makes the same amount of money, which makes them incapable of paying more. For example, if a doctor and a college student are both tenants in an apartment, they will not be able to afford the same amount of rent due to their different financial situations. Another problem that is presented when tenants are dealing with splitting rent is room sizes. Some apartments and homes have different room sizes, which affects who will pay more and who will pay less. Tenants often look at this and think that they shouldn't be paying the same amount as someone who has more space than them. Something else that is also an issue is the individual tenant's use of the space. One tenant might be in the home more than the other and get more use of it. This may make tenants believe that they shouldn't be paying the same as those who are always there because they aren't using the same space.
Scenario 1, splitting rent with a couple. Angie and Louise are a couple moving in with two of their friends, Sophia and Lisbeth. Sophia and Lisbeth are deciding how much they should charge rent to them. The rent to the house is $3,520. Both of them know that Angie and Louise make different incomes, so they will have to figure out if the couple would rather pay the portion as two individual renters or as a single renter. Solution to scenario 1. Sophia and Lisbeth have decided to talk to their friend couple and find a solution in how they will want to divide the rent. Angie and Louise tell Sophia and Lisbeth that they both make different incomes, so it will make sense if they both pay as single renters. Louise in this case makes $60,000 in income, while his girlfriend Angie makes $40,000. Because each person spends time in their own room, they decide to split the rent by room. They both know that the total rent of the house is $3,520, and that Sophia and Lisbeth each pay $880. As Angie and Louise are paying as single renters, they will split the room among themselves. As them paying as single renters, they will end up paying half of the rent price, which is $1,760.
Scenario 2. Splitting rent evenly amongst tenants. In this scenario, Anaya and Jesmar are looking for a way to split their rent evenly amongst each other. They both use the apartment the equal amount and they are friends, so they have access to each other's rooms as well. They also both work in jobs that pay the same amount of money, so they do not have an issue in terms of affordability. The total rent for 1 month is $3,500. Solution to scenario 2. The way the rent is going to be split amongst Anaya and Jesmar is by dividing the total amount of rent due by each tenant. In this scenario, the total number of rent is $3,500. This is going to be divided by 2 to see what each individual is going to pay. When dividing 3,500 by 2, the answer is $1,750. This means that Anaya and Jesmar will each have to pay $1,750 of rent, so it can be considered fair.
Scenario 3. Splitting rent by total space. This rent splitting is ideal for apartment unit with bedrooms that greatly differ in size. Alex and Kevin are looking for a 2-bedroom apartment Kevin is looking for an apartment that has a fairly spacious room, large master room. Unlike Kevin, Alex is looking for a more cushioned room, smaller guest room. The total cost of the rental would be $2,100. The large master bedroom will cost $1,470, and the small guest room will cost $630. Solution to scenario 3. In this case, the most convenient thing is to divide the rental cost by the square footage of each bedroom. Alex and Kevin decided to hire a landlord so that he could calculate the square footage of each room for them to know how much they had to pay in total. The rent of the apartment will be $2,200. Alex, for his part, will be paying a total of $880, and Kevin will be paying a total of $1,320. Scenario 4. Splitting rent by rooms. There are 6 friends that are looking for a house, and they stumble upon one that has 3 bedrooms. This will mean that 2 friends each will stay in a bedroom. The rent of the house is $9,000, and they will have to figure out how much each 2 friends will pay, so they all pay the same amount evenly. Solution to scenario 4. Because there are 3 rooms in the house, the total rent will have to be divided by the number of rooms. In this case, $9,000 is going to be divided by 3. This gives us $3,000, which will have to be the amount the 2 tenants in each room pay. Once the 2 tenants are decided, the $3,000 is divided by 2, and it comes down to $1,500. This means that each person in the room will have to pay $1,500, so everyone can have their fair share of rent due.
Conclusion. In conclusion, fair division can help solve the problem and how tenants can split rent money amongst each other, and how each tenant in the end will feel that they have received a fair share. Among writing our scenarios, we have learned that usage of math, specifically division, can play a big role in how rent can be split fairly. This overall helped us know how to use fair division, and having the knowledge in how we can solve situations such as paying rent that we can stumble upon in real life.
Citations. For our first source, we use this source by using it as a reference to see how rent is split in different ways. It also provides tips when looking for a way to split rents in other ways. For our second source, this source allowed us to see fair division and paying rent as a real-world problem instead of just a math problem. It also introduced us to different theories to splitting rent. For our third source, lastly, we use this source to help us get the formulas to calculate how much each tenant will pay in each scenario. It also gave us types of ways to split rent among tenants. Thank you.